Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And today, well, finally, I have had my two source books for Sword and Caravan get to my house. It's been so long. Wilderlands came out, I don't know, like in, what was it, in April? Like, it was ages ago, right? And so I've got Wilderlands, and I've got Heroes and Villains of the Silk Road. And don't they both just look fucking beautiful? Like, it's amazing. So today I'm going to do a quick, review, flip through or whatever of Wilderlands, just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like and what it's got. So this is going to be an info video, let's say, right? So Wilderlands, full title, Wilderlands: Random Wilderness Encounters for Sword and Caravan, is directly a sourcebook product for Sword and Caravan, right? If you aren't familiar, though probably almost all of you who are watching this would be, Sword and Caravan is my campaign setting for medieval adventures on the Silk Road. It's set in a medieval authentic, though still fantasy form of the Middle East in 1192 to 1222 or so. So during the Third Crusade, and then later the Fourth and the Fifth one, and all the way until the invasion of Genghis Khan of the Silk Road. And it covers geographically everything from the Holy Land to Song, China. And so it's got an amazing amount of historically accurate material in it about all of the different cities and all of the different things that are found along the Silk Road. You can use it to play a kind of a Crusader campaign, right? Or you could do it for a campaign of people who live in the Crusader states, or you can do a campaign of people who are in some part or traveling along, most likely, the Silk Road. And it's theoretically a source book for Lion and Dragon. It has a few sections that are a little bit that have a bit of mechanics, which are like the monster descriptions that are all set up to align with Lion and Dragon, but that means that, because it's OSR, you can use it with any OSR or D&D based product. Now, Wilderlands is not a product that is particularly standalone, right? It's not like the first source product that I did for this was Social Encounters on the Silk Road. And Social Encounters was something that you could use in any game. It didn't really have anything to do with the Silk Road. It just happened to be that I wrote it, and my publisher at the time was doing Sword and Caravan, so he presented it as a Sword and Caravan sourcebook. But it's really all about how to do like social interactions with OSR rules without using like social skills like 3E had or later games have. So that was a universal product. Wilderlands is very much a specific product for Sword and Caravan. And as you can see, the cover is pretty amazing there. And it's a very small book, right? It's only, what is it? It's only 20 pages or so. Yeah, 20. It's only 20 pages long. Originally, we were going to make it only a PDF, but we had so many people that asked to put it into a print version that we decided to go ahead and do it, right? But it's just, I guess it's convenient for some people to get the print edition, but you can obviously also get it on PDF. And what you have is basically what's described here: Wilderlands and Clans of the Silk Road, Random Wilderness Encounters, and Family Generation for Sword and Caravan. So the first part that you get is that it details, it's lost focus there. There we go. It breaks down step by step how the DM should handle daily travel when traveling along the Silk Road. Okay, because in Sword and Caravan there are rules for all of that. There's tables for like when you're traveling along the road, for finding stopping points along the way, rules for generating random villages or other random encounters, rules for getting unwanted attention, rules for events that are happening in specific regions or cities. Rules for random encounters in cities or towns, all of those sorts of things. And so that first page there is just kind of a guide of like a checklist of what to do in what situation if you're the DM. Now, the main part of this product is the Wilderland encounter tables by region, because in the main book, what you get is rules for checking for encounters while you're traveling along the road itself, that is to say the Silk Road, which is to say any of the roads in the region, really, and encounters that you have in cities and villages and, that sort of thing. But what I didn't include in the main book were random monster encounter, mostly monster. It's not just monsters, it's also monsters and other special events that you would encounter if your characters leave the Silk Road and go out into the open wilderness. Because once I started playing Sword and Caravan, the first part of my campaign was during the Crusades, and so this didn't come up right away in the early parts of the play testing, right? But when they started traveling, I realized that very quickly that they were not going to just stick to the road, because they were going to go out and they're going to try to look for ruins, look for monsters. A lot of the Gazetteer section mentions areas of the Silk Road where there are monsters and weird places and things like that the characters are inevitably, sooner or later, they're going to get interested and they're going to leave the road and go out into the surrounding wilderness. So I have it by section, the different areas of terrain and encounter tables. Now, these tables list monsters and types of encounters that are all in either Sword and Caravan, or in a couple of cases are just generic, from giant rats or whatever, Walking Dead. That would be like zombies, right? From Lion and Dragon. You can see that everything inside here is full color, beautiful layout, lots of great medieval art going on in there. Some more nice pieces there. And then after those tables, there's one important thing I add in, which somehow I just plumb forgot to put it in. Maybe because it was I was focusing a lot on the mythology of the Middle East, Persian mythology, Indian, and, Hindu Kush type mythology, borrowing a few things from Arrows of Indra, and Mongol mythology. I really looked at all of those when I made the list of monsters that appear in Sword and Caravan. But I didn't really go too much into the Chinese section, as it were. And so I kind of forgot to include Eastern dragons. That's a bit of an omission on my part, I'll admit it. So here I present you the Eastern dragon stats for, Lion and Dragon stats and their abilities. And then a couple of other special types of encounters that you can have, right? Like hermits, random objects, random people, random ruins, random tribesmen. These last couple are just cut and paste from Sword and Caravan. And then I have family generation rules, because in Lion and Dragon, there are rules for when you create your character to generate, his immediate family, at least, to know, is his father alive, is his mother alive, how many siblings does he have, how many of those are alive. That determines his birth order, so whether he'll have an inheritance or not, and you can generate all this just kind of to find out the basic details. Or if you're very interested, if it's that kind of campaign, you could go into detail about each PC's family, or just some of the PCs. And those rules are fine in Lion and Dragon, but they needed to be modified somewhat to fit the different culture of the Silk Road, both the Muslim and the Chinese culture, both of which, for example, allow for multiple wives. And so if you're generating a character who is native to the region, and Sword and Caravan has several classes that are made for, character classes are made for characters native to the region, like the Silk Road merchant, the tribesman, the Sufi, the Chinese sage, then you would need to do a slightly different mechanic. So I changed those mechanics while also explaining the details of how family and inheritance work in both Muslim and in Chinese culture. And then I had an optional family secrets table, which is fun, and optional inheritance tables, which are mainly for characters who are upper class, right? That they would start with something to take with them for richness. And so that means basically at the back, you get a bunch of objects and magic items and things like that are new. So that's Wilderlands. It's not a very expensive product. It's something that if you have Sword and Caravan, I think it provides a number of very neat little additions, and it's fairly cheap, especially in PDF. But you can also, even the print version is going to be pretty inexpensive, So I would suggest you check it out. It's on it's on drive-through, and it's also on Amazon. Now, I don't remember on Amazon if it's also the electronic version or that's just the print version. But anyways, I'm going to put all the links in the description below so you can check those out. And at some point soon, not my next video, because I want to give it a little bit of space, but at some point soon I'll be doing a review of, or an overview of Heroes and Villains of the Silk Road. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I guess that's everything for today. Oh yeah, one more thing besides that, since I'm promoting stuff. I just last weekend really, our RPG Pundit Presents number 109 has come out from Spectre Press, and you'll see the link in the description here below as well. And it's medieval dream magic, which you can use in Sword and Caravan or Lion and Dragon or Labyrinth Lord or any OSR game. And it's basically the medieval magical skills related to having prophetic dreams and also to having dream visions and traveling through the world of dreams, all based on kind of medieval sources, and with a mechanic that has that theoretically multiple character classes can use. So be sure to check that out from Spectre Press if you want to add a new element of magic to your game, to whatever your game is. Because I mean, you could use that if you're running Forgotten Realms or whatever, right? It's definitely not going to be something that'll be specifically limited to a medieval authentic setting. It's a system of magic to do with dreams, with dream visions and interacting with the world of dreams. So take a look at that. Anyways, that's it for today. Currently smoking Nirip Hawkbill plus Argento Roots.